Hi everyone, the sharp-eyed amongst you will notice that we're out in the wild today. York Racecourse, me and Martin Dixon, a matter of days away from the Ebor Festival. Not just the best meeting in Yorkshire every year, Martin. One of the best meetings on the planet for a few days. And, of course, Racing TV, the only channel at which you can watch every race of the Sky Bet Ebor Festival.
Yeah, it's one of my favourite weeks of the year. Hard not to be. It's probably ingrained in me as a Yorkshireman.
As a proud Yorkshireman,
who grew up 40 minutes away from the track, that this is where my heart belongs, if you like, Dan. But it's a terrific week's racing, isn't it? We see brilliant performances year in, year out. And the stage is really set next week with some big guns set to turn up in a lot of the major races that we've got through the week. Obviously, we've got all of the competitive handicaps, massive fields that you expect, and the betting ring will be lively as well next week. So loads to look forward to. Can't wait to get stuck into it.
And when you think of this place, I think Frankel and Tom Queally, I think brilliant sprint performances. I think of Mums Tipple winning that sales race, weirdly, just because it was such a freakish performance. And we're about to be joined by somebody who rode 95 of those winners at York.
We are indeed, yeah. Paul Hanagan, certainly a name synonymous with York. So we'll get out onto the track and have a catch up with Paul.
I'll never forget of that day is thinking I'm going to win this pretty easily, and then I heard that dreaded whistle of Kieran Fowler.
There's going to be blood down in the ring. Wootton Bassett wins.
I was that confident. Well, I thought she's going to go. She's so good.
That one filly is Taghrooda, unbeaten, and Taghrooda makes it 3 out of 3.
I thought I was collected. It was in. And then comes Paul. Came and chinned us.
The ovation I got was unbelievable, but wasn't quite like Frankel.
And just as promised, Paul Hanagan joins us on this week's podcast. Paul, 95 times, I believe you passed the line in front at York. Pretty special place for you.
Yeah, very special, Dan. I had some great days here. I think what helped as well, it was about 20 minutes from home, so it's not one of them long kind of journeys to get here. Everything's pretty chilled. That's probably before the days of the 2 meetings when we used to dash off to places like Hamilton from here and such. But many good times here at York.
The one in particular you'd think back to now, I mean, we'll discuss loads of them, so many names that you could list, is the one at the top of the list for you?
Do you know what, Dan? I think one that stands out would be a horse called Vintage Premium, the John Smith's Cup.
I was there that day.
Were you there? Yeah. I just lost my claim. So it was a really important season for me, and obviously such a big race on TV. I thought it really kind of got me going in my career.
And do you feel like when you look back and having ridden winners like that, big stage, big meeting, big race of the year here at York, one of the big races of the year, to do that without a claim at a very early point when you've just lost it, was that sort of really important for the owners and Richard at that point to have that faith in you to continue to progress as stable jockey, if you like?
I think so, Martin, yeah. And I think not only all that what you've said is right, but the confidence it does for your confidence as well.
Yeah.
Such a big winner gets your confidence up. You then get onto the next horse and you have a nice winner as well. So yeah, it was a really big moment. Yeah.
And Dan mentioned the number 95. When you look back, how much does it gall you that you didn't quite get that 3 figures here?
Gutted.
Like a cricketer, innit?
Absolutely gutted, yeah. We were just 5 short in the end, but there's absolutely no qualms at all. I think, 95 winners. I managed to be leading jockey for 4 consecutive seasons as well. So, no complaints at York.
And was it a bit different when you came here? There's just that atmosphere compared to going racing at some of the other Yorkshire tracks, smaller tracks, just when you knew York was on that day? Bit more of a buzz, bit more adrenaline?
I always felt with York that it was the buzz, and it was York. I just think York's proper racing people that come for the day out, and they're very, very knowledgeable people. Even just people coming up to you and just having a conversation, and their knowledge on racing kind of takes you back. But as well, being stable jockey to Richard Fahey, this being our local track, so many good races, most of the best horses would be running here. So there's that push straight away of hoping it's going to be a good day.
I suppose it was very important for owners as well to get winners here.
Absolutely, yeah. I think, even just to have a runner here as an owner, a day out with friends, being with Richard. A lot of his owners live locally. So it was always a big day, no matter what meeting at York.
5-furlong point here just behind us. We'll see if we can stay in the trip.
Where's about the right part that you want to be on the track?
Yeah,
I reckon
we'll head down.
I reckon about here, this line, something like that.
Yeah.
Stalls on low stalls would be this side, wouldn't they?
It definitely wasn't here for me anyway. I always kind of, I mean, look, we may be talking a few years now, but I was always kind of happy with middle.
Were you? Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of happy with the middle.
Should we cover every blade?
It was. I just thought sometimes if you're on either flank, I thought sometimes it could race like 2 different races or 3 different races. You could have three groups split. But for me, looking back over the years, I was just always happy with kind of middle.
Getting middle, plenty of cover.
How much pre-race prep would you do on stuff like that? Because you see Billy Loughnane, for instance, now, and he appears to be totally absorbed in the form book as he's maybe heading towards his first title. How much are you scoping out? Right, it's 20 odd runners today, big sprint. Maybe it's that Willie Mill sprint that they have here. All the pace is high though when I'm in box 3. Like how much pre-race prep are you thinking about before to make sure you're giving your horse the best chance?
I used to get so much stick off the lads in the weighing room because my racing post was the most highlighted colours you could ever see over in the paper. And
sounds like my OCD. This.
Yeah, really OCD. Like arrows for pace. So I think that's what Richard liked a lot with me. I used to do a lot of the homework before the races. And then you get in the stalls and what happens? The horse misses the kick and you're 2 lengths behind.
And just on that quickly, it's a tough place to make up ground, isn't it? You kind of want to be on certainly the sprint races, statistically, sort of front end quick horses.
I could never get it, Martin. I just, and you're totally right, it was. For me, one thing I had to make sure was that I just made an effort to be not too far behind.
Yeah.
So many times you'd see and ride horses that they just can't make up that ground. Sometimes you have to sit and suffer like I did a lot at York, because if your horse is going as fast as he or she can, then you've got to sit and suffer. But for me, you just couldn't be too far away, that you just can't make up too much ground.
And can I just ask quickly, we're kind of at the point here where if Dan can just span round a little bit, you can see
cameraman Dan with me, I'm not spanning around anywhere.
That we're at the point where we're at the top of the home straight on the round course now. Does that change a little bit when you're riding on the round course compared to the sprint track in terms of where you'd want to be positioned in the race at this point?
Massively. Yeah, massively. I think
How's that, Twicklin?
I think especially where we are now, I think there's been quite a lot of races being won or lost at this position. Because it might not feel like or look like you've got that long to go, but it is a hell of a long way.
It feels like it having walked up.
It does, yeah. It does. I'm blowing a bit. But yeah, I mean, talking position-wise as well, and where you really want to be, it could be very frustrating as well. A lot of the years we did stick to this rail.
I remember that.
I was going to ask that, because I was thinking that with Vintage Premium. I can't remember where it was drawn. I vaguely remember Khalid Abdullah, might have been Leadership. Might have been that renewal, because I was here for a few years at the time.
Yeah, it was.
Social visitor. Maybe Fergal rode him.
Yeah, he did.
In those days, you've got reruns of the John Smith's Cup, Ebor, every horse is in that half. And then we were speaking to Jim Crowley last week on the podcast. He started this thing where he went really wide, and then Frankie did it twice in a row. So is that a track configuration thing, or was that option always there, but everybody, with common knowledge, you just stay low?
I don't know. For me, I found it very frustrating at times, because I think a lot of people, maybe a horse has hung over there to a rail and it's won well, and I think some people just jump on the bandwagon there, and then we'll start going over there now. Not only at York, I see it at many places as well. But back in the day, you got on the rail, you didn't come off the rail. And luckily for me, with Vintage Premium, he was so game and genuine. He just kept sticking his head out every time Leadership and Fergal Lynch came to me. There was another horse there that came and give me trouble that day. I forget the name of it. I mean, it might have been Ryan Cody Boucher back in the day that rode it. But
That's right.
yeah,
the
it was
runner,
it was such a great day. But yeah, going back to position wise, it can get very messy on this rail if they do stick to it. So kind of deep down, you're kind of hoping that when they get to this point in the track, that they do just generally shift to the middle. It kind of gives everyone a little bit more chance to get a run.
there was a switch though, wasn't there, where it definitely used to be more prominent that you went far side, and it was probably during your years riding that switch happened, and actually there was more of that consensus to come down the middle, which personally I prefer from a betting perspective as well, Dan, in that it's a much fairer track for everybody when they come down the middle.
Much fairer, yeah. I used to sometimes lose the plot if some kid like jumped and then got on the rail and fair dues to him, and then what happens, the whole meeting, I mean 3 or 4 days of the meeting, then you're on the rail, you're not getting a run, you're getting 5 days for shifting out on someone. But I just felt that if we just stay to the middle, it really does, help
level things off,
and makes everyone just a bit of a fair playing field.
I feel like it takes a bit of guts for any jockey, that though. When the sort of implied knowledge as well, this is where you need to be, everyone goes this way. If you know that you're just racing with the others in that crowd, best horse wins, great. But if you're on a bit of an outsider, someone might be tempted to have a bash on another point. But it's a ballsy thing to do, isn't it?
It is, really. I mean, luckily for me, I didn't get any orders off Richard, so I could do what I wanted, which was a hell of a thing to be able to do, to go out there and be confident at York as well. But
so it was just on you, your homework, everything you knew about
detailed
yours.
homework by sounds.
Yeah, and as I say, I think it really helped with Richard, because he kind of give me the confidence of saying, look, I'm not riding the horse, you are, kind of thing, and the horse well after sitting on the horse at home. So it was just kept it simple as we could, really.
Couple of the other highlights that you had here at York over the years, I think personally, looking back on it, with the benefit of hindsight, of course, because I must admit I didn't get involved on the day, but Wootton Bassett must have been the biggest steering job you ever rode here, probably, looking back with the benefit of hindsight. He won the sales race at the Ebor meeting. Obviously went on to win the Lagardère later on in the year.
Yeah, there's a bit of pressure on that day, actually. I didn't really feel it that much, but that day he was a hot favourite in such a big race, and the prize money for them races,
massive,
just massive. But I was fairly confident. He was in the form of his life. Such a beautiful horse to ride as well. I think even if it was 5 furlongs that day, he still won. I was kind of just a passenger, really, because I found a lot with them good horses. They are intelligent, and soon as the gates were not even halfway open, he was gone.
Yeah,
he was out and gone, and I thought, I ain't pulling this lad around and trying to play jockeys.
But it was no sort of one-dimensional speed. Like his offspring, while he was still around, he imparts plenty of stamina as well in them, doesn't he? He's not like just no ways, he just cheap speed.
He does, and hence the reason he ran in the French Guineas. My arms are still about 2 inches longer from that day, because he just possessed so much speed. As I say, that this day at York, when he won the sales race, if he would have won over 5 furlongs, the one thing I'll never forget of that day is thinking, I'm going to win this pretty easily. And then I heard that dreaded whistle of Kieran Fallon.
Oh, really? That's like a really famous thing. A lot of people might not know about that.
Yeah, Kieran had this kind of tradition that he did this whistle, and the horses responded to it, and it's the worst sound you could possibly hear if you're in front.
I've never heard this before.
Yeah, I've heard that.
I'm talking like how many
when he was closing in as
people.
well.
Yeah, you can still hear it as well. How many people at York, and you can still hear it. So yeah, apart from that, I really enjoyed the day.
He wasn't doing it one hand's on the reins whilst doing that proper whistle, was he? Things in mouth. It was
he had it sussed.
And when you look back on Wootton Bassett, was there a point at home that you rode him and thought, this is a proper one?
Yeah, I mean, look, he worked well, Wootton Bassett, but he was very kind of chilled.
Right.
You know, if I remember rightly, he never really like, oh my gosh moment kind of thing. You know, he was kind of very chilled and relaxed. And thankfully, it was when he came to the racecourse, he really woke up.
Have you had those? There must be in them in every yard. I keep saying this podcast, it's boring, but I used to be obsessed with Jack Berry's stable when I first got into racing. You might have heard this one before, Martin. But I was aware at the time, legend of a man.
Legend.
I remember there was a horse called Shinbone Alley, a horse called Speedy James that had huge reputations, but never probably lived up to it on track. Do you ever recall any at Richards, like a 2-year-old that, my God, this is some machine, and then they get to the track and they flop?
Yeah, both vice versa, both cases. One horse that really stands out for me, and it's quite because we're at York as well. But one of my closest ever horses was a horse called Fonto Road.
Oh yeah.
So I think it was the William Hill Sprint he actually won here, and I got Ride of the Year. Fonto Road was literally half asleep at home in all his work, and then he got to the track. And he was like a very, very good horse, a very good sprinter, and that was typical him. Sometimes you can just drives you crazy because you can't put a line on how they're going to run because they're so laid back at home. But Fonto Road was a perfect example of such a laid back, you know, not doing anything and not doing a stroke at home. And then he gets here and, you know, he wins a big handicap like this and, you know, the Air Gold Cup and all them races, you know.
He was one of the ones right in the early part of your career.
Very early.
You have a back issue or something that was resolved, I think I remember Richard saying at the time, or he had some problem and then something clicked with him where everything then started to flourish with him.
Fonto Road?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Fonto Road had a million problems, to be honest. I think, he, I mean, bless him. I mean, my wife actually used to ride him out. He was quiet when Anna was secretary for Richard, you know, and he was just, he was part of the family, you know, like he used to put the young kids on him back in the day.
Yeah.
And he was just such a, like Vintage Premium, just a huge, huge horse, you know, looking back through my career, what really got me going. Yeah.
Think of that don't feel like a golden era of Fahy trained top level handicap sprinters.
There was definitely
not in Wood.
Early 2000s, sort of to 2010.
Not in Wood.
Superior Premium became a
Superior Premium was a little bit before my
you.
time, but you know, the likes of Anna Pavlova, utmost respect, what won the Duke of York.
Oh yeah.
Sadly, he passed away. That horse. He was a very, very good horse.
He was an untapped potential, wasn't he? Never got to the bottom of it.
Such a good horse. Such a good horse. So yeah, I mean, look, you know, back in the day, I mean, for me, there was no one better. You know, we used to have like 30 odd runners on a Saturday.
Yeah.
You know, maybe 15, 20 runners of them at York.
How difficult was it picking between them? Did you have that job, or did you leave it to your agent and just get on with it?
Yeah, not in Wood versus Fonto Road would have been hard enough, wouldn't it?
No, there was. I think with Richard and my agent Richard Hale, I kind of just left it to him.
Yeah.
I just kept my head down, kept quiet. If you want me to ride that, boss, then yeah, I'm on it. You know, I didn't really get involved with tactics with picking horses, but it worked. It worked, so, you know, why change it? Yeah.
Sanzamali, another one. You had a couple of Gimcrack winners, didn't you? But he was 2017, the more recent one.
Yeah.
Was he a bit of an aeroplane at home?
He was.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was nothing could get near him.
Right.
Nothing. But the only thing with Sanzamali was, I wouldn't say quirky, but he was a very, very headstrong horse. And we found out in the end that, you know, don't stop playing jockeys on him. Stop trying to organise him.
Just let him go.
If you think he's doing too much, let him go. And that's exactly what I did here. You know, I thought, I'm going a bit too fast here. I thought I'm going a bit quicker than what I really wanted, but he just kept going and going and getting clearer and clearer and clearer. a very, very, very good horse.
It's interesting, isn't it? We've talked about Wootton Bassett with Paul. We've talked about Sansamali, 2 horses that are now stallions.
Yeah.
Wootton Bassett, chilled, relaxed, not an aeroplane at home necessarily, but good horse, came alive at the races. Sansamali a bit the other way, and that then comes through, doesn't it, into their stock? Because a lot of the Sansamalis that we see now, they are that sort of headstrong, want to go and
Yeah, he was an absolute beast. He was such a big horse as well, and he was just better for knowing. If you didn't know him, you could be in a bit of trouble. Even getting down to the start, if you got a run on you, you could be going round here lap after lap. So he was better for knowing, but I thought he was really phenomenal that day.
Don't you get the impression though, Coolmore from outside, like they seem to value, they obviously massively value the ability and whatever time form rating or official rating a horse reach, but they're like, think of Galileo, it's about how their demeanour and how tough they were, and you wouldn't have had, would you have had Wootton Bassett as an obvious one? Oh, this is going to end up being a preeminent Coolmore sire.
Absolutely not. No, I'd be totally lying.
It's mad, isn't it?
It is. It's totally crazy. I don't think anyone could have ever imagined for him to become, sadly he's no longer with us, but to become one of the best stallions in the world.
Yeah. And there's no doubt about it.
There's no doubt. Yeah. There's no doubt. But I think, that's credit to Coolmore as well. I think they did a fantastic job with him. But I just think no one really had any idea how good he was going to be stallion wise.
So those sort of premier days with you with Richard, amidst your 2 jockeys titles, pretty much. Then you had the transition to be first rider at the second. Sorry, Paul, but you're not even the first jockey we've had on who was a retainer of Hamdan, because we had Gimcrack last week. But what was that switch like when you've gone from this is all about winners, this is all about firing in as many as we can, big York winners, to now this is, I'm looking after this group of blue bloods?
Very different. Yeah, I mean, different in every aspect, because obviously I had to move down south to Newmarket. Kids had to move school. My wife came with me, and then, we were doing 5-6 months in Dubai. So as you can imagine, everything changed.
Yeah.
And it was very different, kind of riding wise, where I mentioned earlier about, I got on horses for Richard and there'd be no orders, instructions or whatsoever, but it was a bit more maybe political because there were so many trainers for Sheikh Hamdan. But I immensely enjoyed it. I met some fantastic people over the years, and obviously rode some exceptional horses over the years. So I just felt as well, because I just won the second jockey's title. And then back in them days, we were still doing the 2 meetings.
Yeah, so did it maybe allow you to sort of just take a bit of a pull in terms of workload?
How did you like that, or did you like the relentlessness of it before?
Well, I knew nothing different, Dan. So looking back, I don't quite know how I kept it up for so long. I mean, some of the things we used to do, I mean, a day here, we get in an aeroplane or a helicopter and dashing off and down the hard shoulder. Probably get arrested now for saying this, but some of the things we used to do to get to the meetings and making it with 1 minute.
I mean, it wasn't right looking back, was
right.
it? I know some jockeys would probably want it now, but maybe it'd be okay. This is how I look at it anyway. That probably be okay if it was a certain distance.
If it was planned, yeah.
If it's doable within a certain range or time frame, then that's all right.
So if they're saying, right, if you're riding at HQ today, there's a meeting at Nottingham on the way home.
Chelmsford,
You're allowed to attend that. You're not allowed to go up to Hamilton.
I suspect it won't change back, but that's kind of how I would look at it, to find a middle.
Yeah, I mean, we say that, but there used to be a meeting at First Racecourse, and then an evening meeting at York, and even that is 25 minutes, 20 minutes to get from First to York. It took me about 2.5 hours.
Right.
So
you're walking.
Even then, with
all the traffic,
the amount of traffic or a crash, or it's just looking back, the 2 meetings, how we got away with it for so long without anyone getting, something bad happening. It's just beyond me.
And I suppose for the mental health of a jockey and everything like that. It's much more realistic and sustainable to just that's where you are today, sort of thing.
Yeah, I think so. And like going back to the conversation, that was one of the probably things that helped me make the decision to ride for Sheikh Hamdan, because I just didn't think I could probably carry on doing that for so long. It was, don't forget, like, you're riding out in the morning 7 lots, and then you literally jump in the car, going racing, have about 6 or 7 rides there maybe, jump in the car, and then you drive into Scotland.
And you were doing it every day as well, because you were so popular numerically with the number of rides you were having.
Never buy a second-hand car for jockeys, the message in it.
I remember my car for I think it was the second jockey's title year. I did over like 100,000 miles in the space of 7 months.
Oh my God.
It's like just ridiculous. Thankfully, it was sponsored.
I bet the petrol wasn't, though.
But yeah, it was just some of the things ridiculous. I mean, you could write a book just on the travelling as being a jockey. The aeroplanes, the helicopters, the cars. Even got on the back of a motorbike one day. So yeah, it was. But looking back, fantastic days.
I don't know if this is a wider perception, but I reckon if you ask punters, they'd say your pomp was fie. This is not me being real. It reflects what I think might be said. And then maybe it wasn't as positive when you had the top job there. Do you feel there was an era which was peak Paul Hanagan? Like, this is the time where I was absolutely on it and feeling good, no stresses, just in the zone.
Yeah, it's really interesting, people's view of things. I think, honestly, when I was champion jockey, I haven't rode as good as then. I was just bang bang, confidence up and all that. But
I remember thee being right in the zone. It was like when he was riding that first championship season, you thought, here's Hanagan again.
Yeah.
That might catch on, Hanagan the Managan. I think I've heard that.
No, I've had enough for
Did
that
you ever
over
ride
the
for
years.
David Lanigan? Because I thought that'd be a lovely little dovetail, just to continue.
Yeah. But yeah, it is funny. But I think when I first got the job for Sheikh Hamdan, they had so many quiet years before that, and I was thinking, well, I was hoping, well, surely it's gonna pick up, because the money that Sheikh Hamdan spends on the sales, and he's got his homebreds, so I'm thinking it's only a matter of time. And then it did pick up, and then it took a few years, but 2014 came along, and I honestly felt that's one of the best I've ever ridden. And you're on some very, very good horses in classic races.
Yeah.
So yeah, but then typical racing where
Just because you're not churning out 150 winners a year, they're saying, oh, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. And obviously, you put on them blue and white colours of Sheikh Hamdan, the most famous colours in the world, and there is no hiding place. There is no hiding place whatsoever. So if you just start to make a few mistakes, or the horses don't seem to be running well, then there's a lot of people that
it's extra scrutiny, I suppose.
It comes with a job. You've got one of the biggest jobs in the world, and you're going to get on scrutiny. But I do think champion jockey years and Sheikh Hamdan years is probably was my pomp then. Yeah.
Between the pair, Vintage Premium battling on doggedly as they race towards the line. Vintage Premium in the centre leadership, and the Karofsky Vintage Premium has won it. Paul Hanagan, there's going to be blood down in the ring. Wootton Bassett wins.
But this at the moment is a one filly race, and that one filly is Taghrooda, unbeaten, and Taghrooda makes it 3 out of 3.
But racing towards the line, it is Muckadram and Paul Hanagan, and Muckadram wins the Coral Eclipse.
But Muhara is scorching away from Twilight Sun, the younger generation holding sway.
Right, we're just at the 2 furlong pole now. It was just before this that I think you got to the front on Taghrooda in the Yorkshire Oaks.
I was hoping you wouldn't mention that, Martin, to be honest.
Yeah, sorry, we've got to pick it up.
Can't
particularly.
have the sunshine
It
and
can.
rainbows, can it?
She was 5s on, expected to get the job done. Obviously, she'd had a terrific season. You must have just thought, right, go collect. Even at the point that you got to the front, but she ended up getting beat.
I mean, you know, my local track, I'm on the favourite Taghrooda in the Oaks, and I'm just like, does it get any better? It'll sound crazy, but I was actually going down to the start. What they probably still do actually is come down a couple of furlongs on the horseway there and turn around and go back in front of the stands. And I thought, even then, I'm in trouble, because she usually goes down like an absolute bull, where she'll drag you down to the start. And I was literally kicking her down to the start, and for whatever reason, I don't know, but going down to the start, I was thinking, oh no, I just had a bad
She
feeling.
just didn't give you the same feel.
She just didn't give me the same feel. She just didn't feel the same at all. But saying that, in the race, I was more than happy, and I probably got to the front, probably about 2.5. You know,
Similar to the Oaks, pretty much.
exactly similar to the Oaks, but I got to the front in the Oaks and I gave her a kick and she just took off, you know. Even like when she won the King George, going down to the start, I remember absolutely tanking with me. And that day they went very quick. And even then, you know, she picked up and gone. But today, as soon as I got to this point, I thought, oh no. You know, and there was a lot of people kind of saying, oh, would you have got to the front any later? Probably yes. But I was that confident that no matter where I got to the stage on the track where I was like ready to go, I thought she's going to go, because she's so good. She's
But
so
she didn't.
good.
She just didn't.
She didn't. And straight away, I could feel Ryan Moore.
He didn't have a whistle, did he?
He didn't have a whistle, no, but
That'd require talking.
I kind of seen his colours crop up on me girths, and I knew exactly this is one guy that you don't want breathing down your neck is Ryan Moore, unfortunately. But
It was probably just a case with her that a couple of big performances that she'd put up. Because I'd say she would have been right up there with the best you rode through your whole career, wouldn't she?
Absolutely the best. I mean, sprinting wise, I've not seen or sat on anything like Murrah before. He was just an absolute legend. But
Win the Commonwealth Cup? Was he winning early Commonwealth
He did,
Cup?
but Paul wasn't on that.
Yeah, we won't mention that again as well. Yeah, there was about
Jeez, like therapy.
there was about 5 in this race. Orange cap, red caps, everything. But anyway, I won. You know, July Cup, the
He was
Maurice de
brilliant.
Guy, and you know all them. And it was just an amazing horse. But Taghrooda, I just thought she was just so intelligent. You know, she just knew exactly what she had to do, what she needed to do, and you know, she was just phenomenal. You know, amazing just to be associated with her.
Yeah, it's correct. That depth that you've had, you know, the entirety of your career. I mean, it feels like a massive reward, doesn't it, for all the hard graft, you know. You might be going up to Hammy for... We keep slagging Hammy off all over the place. So let's use other tracks, smaller. You think, oh, well, I've put another 250 miles in the car today. But then your rewards are, well, you've earned this job where you're going to be riding. You said it's at a point where they were just starting to bloom again as an operation. And then, yeah, the feeling must be a bit different.
Yeah, and I think that's what kind of made my career. You know, people knew and kind of respected the graft that I put in. You know, it was funny. I was battling that out for the first championship with Hughesy, and you know, he's jumping in helicopters doing the 2 meetings, and I'm getting in my little Ford Mondeo to get into Wolverhampton.
Was that the most enjoyable one? I know.
Clash of styles, you were different riders, weren't you, as well?
Yeah, it was enjoyable. It was a lot of pressure in the end, and it was just starting to seep in, because obviously with Hughesy breathing down your neck of all people as well, you know, he got it back to 2 winners on the final day at Doncaster. I think it must be one of the closest ever championships.
Apart from the year Jamie and Seb, dead heat,
yeah.
I didn't think Inchinadamp might have won the last race.
You know, and then the following year got Sylvester de Souza, of all people, breathing down my neck as well, and that was like 3 or 4 winners in the end. So you can imagine, like, so enjoyable looking back at the years, but it was hard work.
It's not even that long ago that you retired, but is there a jockey amongst the current crop who you'd like in... Cause I was saying, like, Clash of Styles, Richard was very patient and horses would really travel. I'd say you were more similar to Sylvester in riding style, being positive. Do you feel any of the current crop sort of more in your mould, maybe? Any remind you of you?
It's a tough one, really, because I just try to adapt to the race. If I was making the running and, if they're going flat out, I'd be sat last. It was just as simple as that. But look, it's going to sound really boring, this, but I'm just the biggest fan of Ryan Moore. He does his talking on the race course, and when you get to know him, he's one of the nicest guys you could ever meet. And I actually seen the podcast not long ago with Jim, and I was a big fan of Jim. He's grafted his way to the top, and it was so nice to see him, be okay after that dreadful fall here, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that day. So I'm just delighted he's got out in one piece, a bit like myself, really. The pair of us probably had a lot of bad ones over the years.
Yeah. I mean, Jim had like crazy tales of, not crazy, but probably just of the time, like in that Northern Jumps weighing room where people were smoking and like now it's like you hear about dietitians and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't think I'm allowed to tell you after stories, to be honest. But like you can imagine, back in the day, I mean, I walked in as like 17-year-old into that weighing room, and it was so intimidating. You've got the likes of Lindsay Charnock back in the day, and Dandy Nichols, and Johnny Carroll, and George Duffield, and all that. And even like back in the day, if you had to go and sweat in the sauna, I mean, they'd be drinking like gin and tonics, and to self and sweat.
Yeah.
And people playing card games for lots of money, and you're like...
Was there someone at that point that took you under their wing a little bit, like that sort of looks after you, and was it just a find your own way?
No, I was blessed, really. There was such a good crowd of Northern jockeys. Obviously, I got my fair share of rollickings over the years, but it certainly didn't do me any harm. But there was just such a good people, when I was riding. I was respectful to them, a lot of them, which you had to be back then. And I just learned a hell of a lot from him.
Bit like the Crazy Gang dressing room. Would you ever come out the sauna and all your gear had been moved, or your shoes had been set on fire or something?
Anything you can imagine went in that weighing room. But some great times. It was really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I recall John. He was stable jockey for Jack Berry, funnily enough, for so long.
Yeah.
And obviously now it feels like a bit of an anathema, doesn't it? You just wouldn't have that nowadays, would you? Which couldn't be.
No, not at all. And I don't know. Sometimes it has to change, and sometimes it changes for the better. Sometimes there's a bit of a question mark. But times change, don't they? But the weighing room is an amazing place, because as you can imagine, I spent like 26 years in the weighing room. It was near enough like family.
Yeah.
I'd see more of the jockeys than I did of my wife and kids. So it was a kind of safe haven. You have your own posse in the weighing room, and some great people over the years.
I mean, I live about 40 minutes from where you were brought up, lad from Warrington. I probably didn't see a horse in the flesh until I went to Bangor Racecourse for my first trip to the races, which was Scottish National Day. It was on that day a horse called Baronet won it. How on earth did you? Because it's not exactly a hotbed, is it, of training, Warrington? It's more rugby league territory.
It is, yeah. I tried that rugby league. They used to throw me around the pitch like a rag doll all the time. But yeah, I loved my football to begin with, but I just literally followed my dad down to a local racing yard one day. Back in the day, Terry Caldwell, and he was just this little permit kind of trainer kind of guy, the lovely guy.
Mr. Spectre, I think he had a horse,
Yes,
wasn't he?
great character, and his two sons, Patrick and Paddy, were the jump jockeys back then. And I just literally, from watching my dad ride out, I just knew this is what I wanted to do. Yeah, and it's as simple as that. I was a kid from Warrington that had absolutely nothing to do with horses whatsoever. And then, long story short, I then went to the British Racing School in Newmarket and was doing a few summer holidays with the late Malcolm Jefferson in Malton. I actually wanted to be a jump jockey, believe it or not. I must have been absolutely mad. Luckily, I stayed light, and then, thankfully, I got kind of passed on to Richard Fahey from the age of 17, 18.
What do you think like with that? Was there ever, thinking going back to my school days or something, was there ever a stigma about the fact, you're going riding horses, we're all playing football, we're all
He was playing
rugby
football, yeah, I'm sure.
at the same time?
I'm sure I've heard you say before. You.
I promise you, and I hate to say it, but it was the biggest secret when I was at school, because my school back in the day was not renowned for going horse riding.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what
Let
I mean.
me tell you, it was a place in Warrington, Latchford, where if you didn't play football or rugby, you were an absolute outcast. So when I started doing the horse riding, it was very hush hush. But it was just the way it was, and my close friends knew deep down what I really wanted to do in the end. So, it was just, Warrington, it's just, your typical Northwest football.
Yeah.
That's how I grew up, football, and watching my dad play and then managing football teams around local areas. And, I got into it kind of a lot later than everyone else, you see. I was like 13, 14 when I first started riding. So
that would be considered pretty late then, would it?
Oh, very late. But you could tell as well, I was absolutely useless when I first started riding. I really had to work. It didn't come natural. A lot of kids are doing the pony racing now, and there was no pony racing. We couldn't afford ponies or anything, but, back in the day, I'd say like someone like Hughesy was on a horse at about like 2-year-old or something, like literally brought up on him, where I wasn't, so I really had to work hard. It wasn't natural.
Before we wrap it up, I just want to mention
Is this another bad
one.
thing?
No, this is a bad memory for me. This
Okay.
one, because we're probably about 50 yards away now from the point where we had a runner here about, it must have been 7 or 8 years ago, maybe a bit more than that, called the Great Wall, and I thought he'd win, to be honest. I had a good go at him. Sylvester rode him, drawn a little bit out wide, but went forward. Just thought, right, just send him, Sylv. He'll hold on. He's too good for this lot. And lo and behold, he was clear. And about where we are now, I thought that I was collecting. It was in my pocket. And then comes Paul, probably not whistling, but doing something similar, growling at.
He was pointing at you in the
And
stand.
he came and chinned us in the shadows of the post.
Yeah.
I think you remember
One of the
it as well.
night.
Yeah. It was Norman Steele's Starlight Romance.
That's it.
I think it was. So, and why I really remember that day is because it was like one of the last races. Could have even been the last race of the meeting, and it actually made Richard leading trainer. He needed one winner.
So, some comfort for you there.
So I got a lot of plaudits off Richard that day. He was very happy. So sorry about that.
I was devastated.
I was thinking like York punting highs, punting lows, and we'll probably become a bit of a feature this as we go on, like what's happened over the course of the last week, which was good or bad. I think American Affair winning I've got a bit of a love
In the
affair
handicap?
with it. In the handicap, yeah. Was just, I think part of it, because it's not ego at all, but sometimes in racing, whether it's financial interest or not, you want to be proven right in some instances, don't you? Like, you just had a belief in this horse. Oh, it's a really good quality sprinter. It could be a group horse. And then that was one of the other days where you thought, oh, God, yeah, he's actually going to be that. Unfortunately, don't happen all that often.
He'll be back here next week.
That's punting low. What about your punting high?
For me, I don't know if Paul rode in the race. Roaring Lion, when he won.
No, I
Nancy.
didn't.
So, yeah.
No, I wasn't. I don't think I was in the race, but
But he just was an absolute class act in the field, and he's one of them that came off the back of a slightly like lesser effort.
Craven
and
or something.
Yeah, and people had kind of half sort of started to get a bit shaky about whether he was really that good. And I just remember looking at it on the day and thinking, if he's anywhere near where he was at his like the best of last season, he'll completely dominate these. And he was around 7-2, 4-1, and duly obliged. So that was one of the good ones.
I've got
made up for Paul chinning me.
a slight comedy one from back in the day. This would be a punting low. It sounds like one because there was a slight profit, but still green in those days. I didn't realise that the place pot was literally that. You just got to get them placed. So I assumed, as I went to collect the ticket, and every single one of the horses had won. A horse called Salviati, Foreign Affairs. On one of the legs, there was a non-runner that I put in, and it went on Foreign Affairs, who was the favourite, or defaulted to the favourite for Sir Mark Prescott. It must have been John Smith's Cup Day. I was here most years. And I went over to the counter at the tote thinking they were going to be giving it me in a wheelbarrow. They've all won. Like, how I might even not have to go to work. I mean, I might be retiring at 18 here. And yeah, it paid about 25 quid, I think.
Because it was the place.
Because it was the place. I assume there must be some sort of baked-in bonus. For,
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, bring back so many good memories at York, and it's fantastic to ride so many good horses here. But one thing I will never ever forget about York is when Frankel won here.
Yeah, God.
And I don't think I've ever seen a crowd like it, and round the parade ring.
Or a performance like
Or
it,
a performance. It was just something. And when you see, including myself, the other jockeys come out of the weighing room to look at Frankel and walk around the parade
that
ring.
wouldn't happen generally, would
Never.
it? No.
Never. It was just unbelievable. And as I say, great memories. And one of the ones was my last ever ride here at York, and the ovation I got.
Was it this week? It was this week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
3 years ago.
3 years ago now. So the ovation I got was unbelievable, but wasn't quite like Frankel when he came back in. But it was still very good. Yeah.
As was our chat. We've absolutely loved it. I'm speaking on Matty's behalf there. Despite the fact we might have mentioned a couple of sore points over the years, I thought you handled it with great grace, and you've got all those brilliant memories to look back on. So thanks so much for popping across, Paul.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Watch live racing now on racingtv.com.